Today, of all days, with the historic peace deal in the Middle East and the release of hostages on both sides, I think we are all happy that Kamala Harris is not our president. It is very clear that President Trump is the peacetime president, and he's doing everything he can to prevent the world from spiraling into World War III. Well, Kamala Harris reminded us of all of this as she's on her book tour right now, promoting her, defense of why she lost the election last year. Oh, I only had 107 days. Well, as she was doing press interviews, she was actually asked, hey, have you spoken to Joe Biden recently? And, well, unfortunately for Kamala Harris, she kind of caught herself in a lie, realized it, and, well, let's just say it was an awkward moment.
I want to get to some news that just came out today with President Biden. His spokesperson said that he is going to now start doing radiation for his prostate cancer. Have you talked to him about it?
I called him earlier.
How's he doing?
I have not talked to him. I just left him a message after I heard the news. I was otherwise on the event at the event. I think Joe Biden is a fighter, and that is what I told him and left him a message. He's a fighter, and he's going to fight this. And we're going to hold him up and pray for his recovery and for his strength and for his family.
You write about him a lot in the book. Have you talked to him about the book?
Yes.
Yeah. What'd he say?
I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, come on. It's just you and I.
Yeah, right.
Madam Vice President, thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome.
We appreciate it.
I'm not going to tell you. You can't even say whether or not he appreciates you serving as his VP or whether he wishes. Like, there are so many ways to answer that. Oh, I'm not going to tell you. But she, caught herself in a lie right off the bat. Let's just take a closer look at this clip here.
I want to get to some news that just came out today with President Biden.
So the news, in case you haven't heard, we found out a few months ago that he's been diagnosed with cancer. And by the way, the stage of cancer it's at, it's hard to believe that this just came out of nowhere. Usually prostate cancer takes quite a while to develop, and then for it to get to the point where it's in your bones, that doesn't happen overnight. And the fact that the president not only gets a yearly physical exam, but has access to the best physicians, the best medical team, the best care, like, how was that ignored? How was that just glossed over? I think that's why so many people believe that there was a cover-up with his health, not just obviously with his cognitive decline, but just the physical state of his well-being. But here, what they're talking about specifically is he's starting radiation now for that treatment.
His spokesperson said that he is going to now start doing radiation for his prostate cancer. Have you talked to him about it?
I called him earlier.
So have you talked to him is the question. And she says, I called him earlier. Like, which is it? Yeah or no? And obviously with the I called him earlier, she's implying that she's talked to him and she's not thinking that there's going to be any sort of follow-up because, hey, that's what Democrats are used to. But unfortunately for her, he did have a follow-up and she realized, shoot, I lied. She didn't technically lie. She did call him, but she definitely was trying to paint this image. Oh, the Democrats are unified. Oh, yeah, we're in touch. Oh, yeah, him and Jill, they don't have a problem with me. They don't hold a grudge against me.
How's he doing?
I have not talked to him. I just left him a message after I heard the news.
I have not talked to him. Oh, way to admit that Joe Biden and his team are ghosting you. Just totally embarrassing right there. And that's the thing, this news, again, sure, the radiation is new news, but the cancer treatment isn't all that new. You're telling me that you haven't spoken to the guy who was your boss, the guy who was supposedly your friend, the guy who was your running mate for the last 4 years and the campaign before that. You're telling me you haven't spoken to him in 9 to 10 months? It took this news breaking for you to reach out at all. So it just shows you, their relationship really is on icy ground. We all know, we've seen the reports by now that Jill Biden still holds a grudge against Kamala Harris and cannot stand her and all of that, happening there. Well, it's not just that interview. Kamala Harris actually gave a speech today. So two huge things today. Number one, obviously, the peace deal in the Middle East and the hostages being released, but it is also Columbus Day. You would think that you would celebrate the exploration and the discovery and how America was colonized and grew into the superpower that it is today. A superpower, by the way, which was able to broker a peace deal, has been able to stop wars and defend democracy and defend people and free speech and human rights and all of these great things. But on Columbus Day, on the same day when we brokered a peace deal in the Middle East, Kamala Harris couldn't acknowledge all of that. Instead, she focused on the sins of America and our forefathers.
It is an honor, of course, to be with you this week as we celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day, as we speak truth about our nation's history. Since 1934, every October, the United States has recognized the voyage of the European explorers who first landed on the shores of the Americas. But that is not the whole story. That has never been the whole story. Those explorers ushered in a wave of devastation for tribal nations, perpetrating violence, stealing land, and spreading disease. We must not shy away from this shameful past, and we must shed light on it and do everything we can to address the impact of the past on Native communities today.
Happy Columbus Day. That really is inspiring and makes me proud to be an American. We really dodged a bullet with that one. Whew. I mean, I guess dodged a bullet in more ways than one, truly. That is absolutely scary. And you would think, again, Columbus Day being the same day that this deal was reached, like, that's the message you want to put out there? And it's very clear Kamala Harris intends to run for president again. She clearly has not learned her lesson. She is doubling down on dumb and doubling down on appealing to the worst elements of her party, those extremists who, quite frankly, are on the side of Hamas, the extremists who hate America and think there's nothing good about it and think it is fundamentally flawed because of the sins of our founding fathers. It is absolutely ridiculous, and it's very clear what she's trying to do and the groundwork she's trying to lay there. Unfortunately, though, Democrats, well, unfortunately for them, fortunately for the rest of us, they haven't learned their lesson. And in fact, over the weekend, Senator Mark Kelly was out there saying, oh, I think Kamala would be great in 2028. Like, I can't wait for her to run again. But before we get into that, I would like to acknowledge the members of today's Governor's Club. They are Rice and Spice, Houston Sammy Girl, Ali Severino, and Jeremy 2001 Happy ×2. These are people who give super thanks and tips to the channel. I'm so glad that you enjoy, and I'm so glad that you are here. Well, here is Mark Kelly. You would think that the Democrats would have learned their lesson from the shell-shacking, but I guess not.
Do you think that Kamala Harris would be a strong candidate in 2028?
Candidate? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, she was the nominee last time. I think
you would encourage her to run.
I think she would be incredibly strong.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, unless he himself is planning to run for president and he just wants someone easy to beat, maybe that answer makes sense in that context. But if he's not planning on running and just really thinks she's going to be best for the country, Democrats, ooh, yeah, I don't know. Well, actually, I'm not going to give you any advice because I like the path you're going down right now, as long as you stick to your electoral minority. As always, though, all of that is just my analysis and commentary. That's what's happening in the world of politics from my point of view, and I would love to hear from you. So what do you think about Kamala Harris's interview about calling Joe Biden? Do you think that I'm reading too much into it and that, maybe she was telling the truth? She just called him, he didn't answer, and it created this awkward interview moment? Like, am I just trying to read in between the lines too much and there's too much drama there? Or do you agree that what I was saying, that she lied, realized she was caught in a lie, and that's what created this awkward segment? Let me know your thoughts on that down in the comments below. If you haven't already, please be sure to leave me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask for. It really does help me reach more viewers like you in the algorithm. Thank you for all the kind words about the warm-up piano video. So the second competition is at the end of the month, and so I hope to get the piece a little more cleaned up by then, and then the live round finals for both would be November 15, and then the concert itself would be like first week of March next year. So I would have a long time to get the piece cleaned up and really into better shape. It's a little sloppier than I would like right now, but I've only been working on it since May. And a lot of like the professional pianists, they'll work on it for like a year or two, and they get paid full time to work on it, and practice like just insane hours. So, even though it's not quite where I want it to be yet, I know that I can get it there, and I'm proud of what I've been able to accomplish on the time span I've been able to. So I appreciate the kind words, the encouragement, and I look forward to seeing everyone next time. I don't remember if I asked for likes or thumbs ups or subscribes, but do all of those things and check out one of these videos.